Hey guys, welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. When we left off, we have a Kerbonaut. He's trapped up at the North Pole. Now, in an effort to build a moon base, I've been experimenting with some various parts. We're gonna actually test him out at the North Pole. I figure, you know, it's easier than launching all the way to the moon. I'm gonna have to redesign this rocket. This is what I'm using as my launch platform here. This is obviously gonna have to be redesigned for the moon. But I'm hoping it's got what it takes to get this rover here, which is a construction rover that I've developed, up to the North Pole at the very least. And those engines are still glitching through the ground there, so we need to do that. That ought to be good enough. I'm still playing at 720p just because I need to figure out what's going on with my computer not really running the game very smoothly. I don't know what the deal is, but I'll figure it out at some point. We are going to be using, not for the landing, but we're going to be using MechJeb for this because I feel like it's important to select the correct command pod thing here so it's facing up. I've learned my lesson from a couple of failed experiments about that. Now, this doesn't have any second stage for actually dealing with the deorbiting, so I'm hoping I'm going to have enough fuel here. We'll need to add another stage, obviously, if we're going to ever make it to the moon, but I'm hoping this will be enough with the weight that I have here. This rover doesn't weigh a ton. I'll show you how it all works once we get up there. I've been developing this stuff here at the KSP, or KSC. I have been just assembling it over there. I deleted that one though, but it all worked out. So it should work. The only thing is whether or not this delivery system will work. I have parachutes for this delivery system. Obviously, when we're on the moon, we will need to do something else because that won't work. But let's engage the autopilot. I don't want it to auto stage. Oh, let's give this a go here. Now, I did test fire this rocket once just to make sure it flew straight, and it goes super duper slow. I'm not real sure what sort of chances we have of actually getting to this we're going to be, but I've set my inclination to 90 degrees. We've got the autopilot on. I'm going to try to do a 100-kilometer orbit here. I believe my asparagus staging, as they call it on the forums, I believe it's working correctly. Not sure I'm using the right engines for it. I think I am, but this thing's a pretty heavy lifter. It's a slow start, but it'll build up some speed here. It's definitely going to take a little bit. That's why I turned down the resolution. I've been trying to play this at 1080p, and it works just fine when I'm not recording, but Fraps doesn't get along with this. I think I'm going to have to probably buy a faster hard drive or something like that. I use a second hard drive for recording, and I think that's probably part of the problem. But we'll see. I'm going to try to tweak some stuff in the coming week or two. Probably not right now because I'm going to be out of town for a little bit. But alright, we're coming up on our first stage separation here. I'm crossing my fingers that I have the... That scares me when the autopilot does stuff like that. I'm crossing my fingers I got this set up right. Looks good. I put Separatrons on those things so that they wouldn't collide. Just give it the little nudge out of the way. Alright, we're flying kind of funky here. I don't really think that this was the best ascent path. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have had it start the turn until higher because of the heavy payload that I have. Oh well. It's not like we really need a stable orbit. I'd like one. If we crash land on the North Pole, well, it'll be another thing that crash landed on the North Pole. Hopefully that's not going to happen. It's starting to get up there, though. I have high hopes. It probably might have been more efficient to just get into a standard orbit and then adjust the orbit too, because I think that might be more fuel efficient, but I did not feel like doing that. Yeah, we're doing pretty well with our fuel. That tank's still full and those ones are draining, so I believe my my fuel lines are set up correct at least. we're definitely flying pretty sideways right now. Oops. I actually didn't check it with MechJeb to see how much this rover weighs. Curious. Basically, I guess I'll show you while we're flying. It's just 8 of these wheels on each side, some like 6 batteries and 2 generators. It has landing gear on it so that it can kind of pop up, and then there's a Clampatron Jr. on there, and all of my modules have one on the bottom, so I can kind of use the landing gear to pop the thing up out of in the air, get it close enough to dock, and then it can haul these things around. I tried a different version of this rover that I really liked, but it used the small size lander wheels, and unfortunately they just did not have the gusto for the lifting that I asked of it. So picking a pretty decent speed now. I think we might actually be able to achieve orbit here. I'm a little nervous. I usually put an extra stage on these things, but I figured since we're not actually going to the moon, we might be able to get away with saving the fuel weight here. We're getting up there. Probably don't even need to really go to 80,000. I could probably, I mean, to 100,000 meters. I could probably get away with just doing 80,000, but I did not. I really like those Sepatron things, how they kind of whirl things out of the way. That's pretty neat. This rocket's wobbling really bad now, though. It's a little nerve-wracking. What are we doing? Oh, we're gonna make it, I think. I'm feeling pretty good about this. I'm feeling pretty good. What orbit did I put that in? Yeah, just barely in space. I did that one myself, which is why the orbit's all kind of craptastic. Come on, man. 100,000. You're gonna make it. Fuel efficiencies. Look at this rocket wobble. Oh my god. I should have strutted that up a little better, I guess. I thought it was strutted well enough. I didn't really think through the fact that it was strutted to the other stages. This might be a problem. We're past the... No, we're not past it. Okay. Still, yeah, we're gonna... The wobbling really doesn't help. At least we made it to space. Come on, man. You got this. Yeah, look at it go now. That's what I like to see. Boom. And now, my favorite thing about MechJeb is that it just gets your maneuvers set up and it warps time as much as it needs to, which is pretty dang sweet. I usually plan my maneuvers myself and then have it execute it, which I think is kind of, you know, I think it's fairly realistic. That's kind of what they would do in real life. Fingers crossed on this, man. So it's moving itself over this blue maneuver node. And it's going to do this. Like I could execute this myself, but I'm never going to be as perfect as it is, so I don't really feel like it. Now, once we have this orbit set up, I'm going to go ahead and make some plans for deorbiting. I wanted to get into a stable orbit first, even though it's a waste of fuel because I have the fuel to do it, and it gives me more time to actually plan my my landing. Now, the only thing that this rover really has to land with is 2 parachutes, so I'm hoping that's enough. It's not very heavy. I'm hoping everything will hold together on the re-entry. So when we do the moon one, we're going to have to develop some sort of sky crane, which will probably be a nightmare to develop. I already have a lot of probe bodies going on to do the various things that I need to do here, so hopefully it won't be too bad, but I have a feeling it will be. You're getting a little off target there, MechJeb. Don't mean to tell you your business, but I should have put RCS on this thing too. Next time we launch a probe up here, I'm going to put a couple of RCS up on the top just so MechJeb has an easier time dealing with this. And I'm also going to strut the payload better. Alright, cool. We should be in a stable orbit now. We are. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, think what we're gonna do is plot a maneuver. If I do it here, that ought to give me enough time. What I kind of want to do is move my orbit over this way, so we kind of come down more over where I actually have my aircraft landed, which is like right there. So if we move the orbit over that way, that's pretty close. This is my first time doing like an atmospheric landing like this, so I don't know how this is gonna go. I've landed on the Mun a couple times, but I haven't really done this. Now, the atmosphere is gonna slow down my probe, so I think I want to overshoot my actual landing a little bit, but probably not too much. Let's bring that in. How's that looking? I think I want to bring that down just a little more. Now if I do that and things don't work out, we're going to be pretty short of where I want to be. I'm going to try that and let's hope it works out. I'm also going to have MechJeb actually do this node too, because I think MechJeb will do a better job, and this is fairly precise, so I'll let MechJeb get this thing set up here. It's going to take it a while to torque itself around here because the torque on these probes kind of sucks. Close that for now. So that's going to be a minute probably. Definitely should have put RCS on this thing. So if we get this construction rover landed, we'll be able to send over the first module next, which I think is quite a bit heavier than this, so I might need more fuel for that. I'm not sure. There's a lot of struts and stuff, and those wheels are not light. Like, they're fairly light, but there's a lot of them, so I don't know. The weight's probably actually kind of comparable. The other thing's a more regular shape, so I don't think it will wiggle as much, which would be good. I can get rid of some of this, like, staging down here, too. I'll have to redesign the launch vehicle. With any luck, though, MechJeb's going to realize it's off target here. MechJeb, thank you for realizing it. It's a little nerve-wracking just having the autopilot warping time and stuff. That's probably my favorite feature of this, though. It actually has a time warp assistant, which lets you time warp to a specific point, which is so nice because the time warping in this game gets really laggy and stuff. So it's nice to be able to actually plan your time warp down so you don't go shooting past a planet. I've done that numerous times. I believe in one of my last videos I actually had some, when I played this earlier last year, I had some unsuccessful trips to the moon due to the time warp screwing up. So, alright, we're coming up on our burn. It's a short burn. I don't know that I believe that. Really? I'm gonna trust it. There it goes. That's more accurate, I think. 25 seconds. It seemed like a really short burn. I think it kind of miscalculated it due to the firing of the... Look at that wobble. Holy God. Due to the last firing that it did. But hopefully this will be close enough. The rover has generators on it. I didn't bother with solar panels. It just has generators and batteries, so we can drive it pretty far. I'd like to land it as close as I can. But let's see how this worked out. Alright, that actually looks pretty perfect. I'm going to be passing just slightly off, but that will probably do. The only real question, I guess, is how these atmosphere and the parachutes are going to affect things here. We don't need that anymore, so let's ditch that. And we just majestically float. We can close that too because we don't need it. Now, I have like 3 probes on here because this one's stuck where I couldn't remove it. And that one was actually needed to make the rocket fly right. And then, of course, the rover has its own little probe on it. But the rover probe is facing this way, which means that it will just fly a rocket sideways. It's kind of crazy with MechJeb. You have to be careful with that stuff. Actually, not just with MechJeb. It screws up the nav ball, too. So it's good to have an extra probe going up there so that it works out correctly. Now, I am going to get the map open here, and we're going to warp a little bit until we get down to a lower altitude here. And I am going to actually watch this happen, because I'm going to... Oh, we're in the atmosphere anyway, so it's slowing me down. It's making me slow down. Alright, so when we hit probably like 10,000 or so meters, I'll probably hit the drag chutes then. I am interested in how this is going to move that way, because I know it's going to. I'm not good with atmospheric landings. Like I said, I've really never done one like this. So, like a re-entry like this. When I've done it before, I didn't care where the Kerbals landed, so it was a little bit easier. I should have put Separatrons on this so it would have gone flying and gotten destroyed. That's a shame. I'll have to end the flight. I'll put Separatrons on the next one. I like doing that. You just have the little thing go whirling off. Nice shot of the moon there. Looking good. Where'd the rocket go? Oh, there it is. That thing is going to go whirling past us at some point. Are we losing distance yet? Yeah, we are losing distance a little bit. No, it's kind of sticking to it. We might overshoot this. Maybe I should open the drag chutes in a little bit here, because I think we might overshoot this. What's down there? Oh, that's where my plane's landed. That is where my plane is landed. I recognize that spot. I think I am going to hit the drag chute. I don't think it's going to do much until we get lower. We're going to be really far away. So I didn't need to overcompensate quite that much for the atmosphere. I did a little too much. Can I whirl this thing around so it's facing the right way? Oh, it's unstable. Go figure, it's unstable in the atmosphere. Good thing I don't need heat shields yet. Come on, man. Losing a lot of speed, though. That's good. Thing's fairly accurate to where I'm going to land. That kind of sucks, though. So it's basically, it starts dropping once I hit the atmospheric reentry effects, which makes sense. I'm probably going to end up being pretty darn far away here. Okay, it's looking better. So next time I should get that dot to aim right about where it is now instead. Probably be in better shape. Is that one of my... That is one of my orbits of something. Probably a satellite. Alright, this is actually better than I was thinking. The drag chutes are helping out a lot. It's going to be harder when I'm doing this on the moon because there's no atmosphere to use the chutes with. And we're going to be about 45 kilometers away, so I'm going to have to do some of that on my own. Maybe I should just leave this out here in case I overshoot with the next module, because I'm going to spend like a little bit of time, probably like 20 minutes driving this thing over there. Will it have enough parachute force is the other question, I guess. I believe this ice, like I said before, is just at sea level, so the chutes should open at 500 meters fully deploy. Come on, man. Nerve-wracking. That must be the debris from the other ship. We'll have to get a lander, a rover up here, a manned rover, so that we can go look at the debris of the other ship at some point too. I have to figure out a way to get crew back and forth here efficiently too. I've been trying to think of a fuel depot setup, but I neglected to put any sort of fuel port, a docking port on that plane that I already launched. So that plane's just stuck here, unfortunately, because I don't have a way to refuel it. But in the future, I'm either going to develop one that can do the full trip. Oh yeah, look at that. That is nice. I'm either going to develop one that can do the full trip, or I'm going to have to develop some sort of refueling system. I kind of like the idea of refueling just because it's kind of cool, but then I have to launch refueling missions all the time to bring more fuel here too, which I guess wouldn't be a big deal, but we're not going to be doing that much at the North Pole anyway. I just kind of want to check it out. I know there's an anomaly up here. I want to find it, and I also want to just kind of mess around with this stuff, get an idea of how these mechanics work. That's my probe over there too, isn't it? We landed kind of right between the probe in this. Yeah, that is my probe. That's kind of nifty. Holy God, man. 2 parachutes may have been a bit much. We are really going slow. Thought this thing would be heavier than this. I'm going to put 2 parachutes at least on everything that I'm launching up here. One thing has some pretty heavy modules, so I might need 3 on that one. But this ought to work out just fine. I think I will just leave this rover wherever it lands, because I have no idea where my first module is going to land, and I want to bring it back over that away. So, and again, in the future, I'll put some Sepatrons on this thing so I don't have to do it quite this way. But there we go. Which one am I controlling? Am I controlling the rover? No, I'm not. Alright, let's drive this rover out from under this thing. Get off of it. Oh, this could be a problem. Let's get this thing up to some high speeds and then do some crazy braking maneuvers or something. Hopefully I won't flip this thing over while I'm doing it. There we go. Perfect. Alright, so I am going to leave this thing parked where it sits. Right here. Let's take a look at the... Yep, that is the probe over there. So neat. We landed kind of right in between them. So we are going to leave this thing where it sits. I will be back in a minute. I'm going to go do a little bit of modifying to that rocket to get the next section up here. Alright, I did a little bit of editing here to my design. I'm hoping that this will function. I forgot to put in the RCS though, so let's take a quick second to put in some RCS fuel here and an RCS module. Is this a little tank? Yes, it is. Let's put the little tank on there and put this on 4-way. And hopefully that will give us a little bit better of maneuvering. It was fine last time. It worked out, but I feel a little better about it this time. Alright, so I'm just going to skip the launch pretty much here because you guys have seen the launch. I do not have my mech jeb set up yet either. I need to actually end the flight and go fix that. So I'll be back in a second when we're getting close. Alright guys, I had to actually reload this and make a couple modifications to the rocket. Namely, I had saved a previous version of this lifter rocket into the subassembly program, which meant that when I added it, it didn't have the little ailerons and it didn't have the quite correct staging setup, so I had to fix that. It looks like it's fixed now. I'm hoping it is. Things are still looking pretty stable and nice, so fingers crossed. Hopefully I'll see you guys at the pole. Alright, I had adjusted my lifting, what do they call it, ascent path there, and I waited to do the gravity turn until like 7,500 meters, and it actually seemed to work out a little bit better. I might even increase it a little bit further. When I do it manually, I usually don't do my gravity turn until like 10,000. So it seems like we're using a little bit less fuel this time, which is cool. Well, maybe not that much less fuel now that I see it. I thought I separated the stages different, but at a different altitude, but it seems that we're still using quite a lot of fuel here. Oh well. Almost up to our orbital speed here. Our orbital altitude, I mean. Our apoapsis is almost up where it needs to be, so that's cool. Still got like more than half of my fuel. That's really going now. And we have sort of an orbit. The orbit would still degrade and we'd end up crashing, but it'll work for now because we are gonna go fix that. Alright, mech jeb. Wow, you are using a lot of RCS fuel, aren't you? Let you use it for this part so you can actually get this maneuver done, though. And then we'll do the same thing. I'll set up a maneuver node and have mech jeb execute that. I'm almost out of RCS fuel. That's nice. Thanks, mech jeb. Let's turn that off, save it for when we need it. You can do it. Oh, maybe you can't. We have 6 minutes till you reach your burn point here. That is drifting badly. Alright, we need the RCS, I guess. Gosh darn it. I didn't bring enough with me. I need to babysit this a little better. I'm gonna turn that off for the moment here. Well, I guess it won't let me turn it off for the moment here. Whoa, why did the camera warp around? That was weird. Come on, MacJeb. You're gonna be late for your burn, man. Oh well. Doesn't need to be a perfect orbit. Actually, that ended up coming out kind of perfect anyway. Yay! Now, let's go ahead and plot our little doohickey here. Now, what do we need to do? I think the positioning was pretty good last time. It makes sense to me to do it near the periapsis. So we'll hit that up again. It's a little hard to see everything for this kind of maneuver, though. Get the orbit lined up first. That looks pretty darn good. Now, last time I kind of overshot things, so let's bring this down. Like, that's about where I did it last time, so let's bring it down. Are you serious? Trying to do all this in this view is not the best. I don't want to end up landing in those mountains. I'd rather land on the ice sheet than the mountains, so do that. Bring this down. Probably right to... How's that look? It's definitely in the mountains, though. Definitely just a little bit in those mountains. Bring that over there. That ought to land fairly close, I think. Probably bring this up just a scooch. It really depends on when I hit the atmosphere, how much braking I get out of that. But that looks pretty close to me. So let's go ahead and set up our maneuver planner and have it execute the next maneuver node. And I'm just gonna give him RCS here again, control, so it can get this thing turned over at some point. I'm running out of RCS though. I hope you do this right, MacJeb, because this thing is a lot heavier on the end of the probe here. It's harder for it to steer. Oh, stop. Oh, it's gonna be out of RCS. It's pretty close to where it needs to be though. Hopefully it can do the rest of the adjustment here. Come on, MacJeb. You clearly don't have any RCS left. Are you going to even be able to do this? I'm not even sure this thing's going to turn over. Oh, it's going. It's going. I'm glad I'm not doing this and it's MacJeb fixing the angle here. So I'd be kind of annoyed. Alright, come on, man. You got this. I'm nervous. I believe my staging... I had to modify the staging here in orbit. I noticed... Well, actually, on the way up, I noticed it wasn't quite right. And actually, it's still a little screwed up. I can fix that part when we get down to the ground. I believe this is the correct decoupler there. Yes, it is. And then parachutes. And then that... I did remember to put some Separatrons on this one, so it should go flying off when we land, which will be pretty sweet. But I have to fix this decoupler here for that to work right. I have to remember to save that in the actual file. Alright, things are looking good. Fingers crossed. Let's see what actually happens here. Bring up the ball so we can see. Looking pretty good, MacJeb. Look at that. Right on target. How nice is that? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Sweet. So let's go ahead and close that thing out. Here we go. I want to double check that's the right separator, decoupler before I do this, and yeah, it looks like it is. Okay, here we go. Are we separated? I heard something make a noise. Now we're separated. Cool beans, man. Alright, let's go ahead and get our warp going here again. I'm going to stop when we get to about that point there. Hopefully things will come together here. Then poor, what's his name? Kerman? No, I mean, that's everybody's last name, but I forgot the guy's name. It's like Kirkman? Kerwise, I think is the guy's name, is trapped at the North Pole. Well, hopefully he's going to have a little living module here in a second. And, that'll be pretty darn sweet. Alright, what altitude are we at? So we should have atmospheric effects at like 30,000. So when we get to that point, I will go ahead and get back into the other view here. Come on, man. So that's where the heavy rover is. We're going to overshoot again, aren't we? I think I'm just going to pull the chute as soon as we get past the atmospheric effects. The re-entry effects. Because I can pretty much drop like a stone at this point, and I'll be as close as I would be if I hit that dot over there. So if we split the difference there, that would work out pretty darn well. I like that the rocket debris is all flying off that way, though. That works out better because it's not really in danger of hitting the base. So I'm going to have to remember to do that in the future. Always build the base this way of how I expect my debris to be coming in. Because it should just always overshoot it that way. Alright, let's go back in there. We're close enough. Alright. I hope this thing's strong enough to hold together, too. I think it is. Nice. We're getting straightened out. And shoot away. How's that affecting things? We're losing some of that distance there. Nice. The drag chute should be out in a second. There they are. Oh, yeah, there we go. We're really losing stuff now. What is that? Is that the rocket that flew over me? What is... I don't know what the second marker is. Had me a little worried that the ship was breaking up, but I don't think it is. It looks pretty together. Well, I kind of thought I'd end up overshooting a little bit, but each one of these should get better as I learn. And now we're on a pretty straight descent. Nice. So I'll just have to send the rover out here and pick this thing up, and we'll bring it over there and start putting together the base. Now, it doesn't have any solar panels because I actually have a power module that goes with this, but I think we'll have to launch that next time. Let's get that gear down also. Did I not set up the gear? There we go. That wouldn't have been fun if I had forgotten to set up the gear. Nice. I can see the rover, 36 kilometers, and then I have to drive it another... It's like a 100-kilometer trip I'm going to have to make with that rover. I'm going to do that off camera, because that is going to be ridiculous. It can go like 20 kilometers, or 20 meters per second, so it's going to take a long time. Like a super long time. But, like I said, I'll get more accurate with the future things. Now let's just hope these two parachutes are strong enough. Two parachutes, from what I've seen, seem to be able to stop most things, so it's really the last thing that could go wrong here. Or I could flip over driving across the ice. Oh, that kind of Kind of stretched things out there, but it worked out. 8 meters, that's fine landing speed. I'm feeling pretty good about this. I'm going to be putting one of these little modules on the top of each of these. Eventually, that's where the sky crane would be when we're landing on the moon. For now, I'm going to see how this actually does when we land. But it should just pop off and go flying up, hopefully high enough to destroy itself so we won't have like scattered debris everywhere. Those little girder things, the structural parts, are so strong though. They are ridiculous. It actually takes quite a bit of a force to destroy one of those things, so we'll see how that goes. Alrighty. I should be able to see the probe too, right? Is that over that way? Yep. Again, kind of split the difference there. 7 meters, 7.8, that's pretty good. Yay! It didn't die. Now let's see what happens when we do this. Can I switch to it? Sure can. Now I put it on a little spinny thing too. I didn't quite spin it enough, I guess. Please don't land on my thing there. It's not gonna go straight down good. Slightly off. I angled all these rockets so it would kind of spin and go off to the side so I wouldn't have to worry about debris falling back down on top of things. And this way I won't have like 50 billion probe module things lying around. So, and is it enough to actually destroy it? Yep. Nope, there's still part of it left. But it's better than it would have been. That kind of sucks. Oh well. So let's go back to the tracking center, because I have to switch back over to this. I have to bring up the map to make sure I select the correct one. His target, not that. What are you doing? Can I not set a target on the surface? Are you serious? Why can I not set the target on the surface? Oh well, I'll just be careful here. I guess it's that one. So I'll meet you guys when we get over there. Hey guys, welcome back. I stopped there for a minute just to charge up the old batteries again. This thing actually drains batteries a lot faster than I thought it would, so I actually might need to launch a replacement version of this that has a couple solar panels and some more batteries, because it really does take a little bit here. But we're closing in on the module. I did some time warping here so that it was like 4 times physical time warp, and it still probably took about 25 minutes to get over to this module, so it's probably going to take about an hour for me to drive back over to where I want to park it. So I am really going to have to get those landings to be more accurate in the future if I want this to be reasonable at all. It also kind of helps if I stop here for a minute and hit the throttle, but I really should probably put a mech jeb on here too, so I could just leave this on a specific set heading and just let it be. That would probably be nice. But we can see the module pretty well now, and we're gonna get to do the docking, which is I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I had to do a lot of messing around with modules back at the at base in order to get this to work right. We need brakes here. Let's not crash into it. These things stop really bad. Anyway, let's get lined up here. Swing over this way. Probably turn on my lights too so I can see. It's kind of getting dark. But basically all the modules are designed this way, and if I do any future different modules I'll have to design them this way too, just so it all makes sense. Kind of get myself squared off here as best I can. This one I'm not even sure if I really have to use the landing gear, but yeah, I will have to. It is high enough. Okay, so just stop, and if I hit the gear, boom, we're docked. Just like that. And then I can just lower all the gear. I said lower all the gear. There we go. Except it relowered the legs. Great. Come on, man. There we go. I'll have to change the action groups a little bit. But now we're ready to go drive this thing back, which is going to take forever. And I guess I got close enough that some of that stuff's self-destructing, so that's nice. Wasn't sure that that was all going to go away. So I guess that's where we're going, is way over there. It's going to be a bit though, guys. So I'll catch you when we get there. Hey guys, we're closing in on the stranded Kerbal here. Kerbal. The sun's rising. I drove through the entire polar night here. I've had to do this like this. It was like 70 something kilometers, so the batteries are not up to a trip of this length, so I have to kind of just coast to a stop, give it a little bit of gas when I can, wait till the charge runs out, and then let go again. I was using the physical time warp for most of the time, but now that we're here, I'm not going to do that. So it didn't actually take like an hour to get here. It probably took about, I don't know, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I wasn't really keeping track. I just listened to a podcast. It was kind of relaxing. But I am going to very much need to learn to be more accurate with my landings. But let's go ahead and keep on accelerating here for as long as we can. We're out of power again. Clearly see the plane now, which I'm happy about. Not crash into the plane. I'm going to go around the back side here. I think what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and probably head up this hill, but I'm going to pick up the Kerbal, and he's going to come in his little module, since I can leave this rover docked and he'll have some power and stuff. So let's go ahead and stop temporarily here. Swap over to this. There's good old Kerbal. He doesn't have to freeze anymore. Now I'm going to just do this for no particular reason. I don't know if this is going to work or not. I'm going to throttle the engine up. I'm going to release the brake and jump out. And I'm just going to send that on its merry way, see what happens, because I'm kind of curious. Where is it going to crash? Oh, there she goes. Just to clear out the debris. Which is done. Mostly. Are you okay? He's okay. That was fun. I think he enjoyed it. Alright, let's run over here. I think we have to go around the other side because that's where the ladder is. Oh, darn. I just thought of something. I don't think he's going to be able to get up to the ladder because the ladder's on the front, and I don't think he's going to be able to get up until I let this thing go, because yep, that's going to be an issue. So here's what we're going to do, since I do want to bring him with me. Oh, but I don't have I don't need a module on that. Let's go ahead, swap over to this. I'm going to lower this down. We're going to wait for the charge to build up just a little bit here. Is this going to screw things up if I lower the ladder and then decouple? Can I just clip through that ladder? I'm going to quick save just in case something goes awry here, because I'd rather not have to bring him with me here. Can I back up? I think my brakes are on. Yes, I sorta maybe can. I hope I can pull. I can pull back in because I can just go sideways if I need to. Okay, let's park that thing. Swap over to him. And he can get in some proper living space. He's been living in a fighter jet thing, like a, size cockpit for a while, so I'm sure he's glad to have some actual living quarters again here. Now that he's in here, can I retract this ladder? Yes, I can. Swap back over here. And the brakes are on again, because I always set the brakes, because things have a tendency to want to roll in this game. Nice and easy pull in. Try to get it as straight as possible here. I'll call that good, I think. Let's check it from the... not quite. That's pretty good. Alright, brakes. Let's try to slow this magnetism down here because it gets kind of wonky. Try to get kind of leveled up. There we go. And come on with the gear, please. There it goes. And docked again. Awesome. So let's go ahead Wait a second here. Turn off the brakes. Please retract all the gear. Why? I don't know why it does that sometimes, but it worked out. Alright, so we've got our Kerbal on board. Where would we want to go now? It's still dark. It's hard to say. I think I just kind of want to head up in these hills. So I'm going to do that, head up in the hills. And you guys have seen me drive now, so we could go all the way over to the debris. But I kind of like it better over here. It's kind of nifty. Look at that view of the moon between the big old Arctic things. But then we're going to have to go on an well, we'll take a rover out. It'll be fine. I think I'm just going to park up on this hill top over there. So I'll see you guys when we get up there. Alright, hey guys, I went ahead and scouted out a location that I think I'm pretty happy with as far as being the permanent location for the moon base, because the terrain here, I mean not the moon base, the polar base, the terrain here is uneven, more realistic to what it will be like on the moon, whatever you want to call it. So I feel like this is going to be a better spot to test landing various stuff and to see how the base actually performs with a little bit uneven ground. Now it's fairly even right here, but it's odd enough that I think we'll be in pretty good shape to actually figure out what's going on. I'm going to get all the lights going here. Wow, those are bright. And let's put down the gear. I said, let's put down the gear. Alright, so the first section of the base is installed. I'm just going to leave the rover plugged in because it has generators on it and it can charge the batteries up on the module here while things are going. Well, maybe it can. Yeah, it can. Didn't know with all those lights going if it was actually going to be able to charge it or not. I'm going to turn off that light. Actually, probably what I'm going to do is turn off all the lights and I'll just manually turn on these ones up here because I don't want to leave all the rover lights on. Those are unnecessary. Alright, so first segment of the base is installed. The next part I'm going to have to bring up here is going to be the solar section because we need to get some power to this thing. And I kind of oriented this so that the sun, it seems, just kind of hangs out in this low part of the sky. But I think we're far enough away from the mountains that we'll get a decent amount of solar power and all that. Anyway, guys, he has a home now. Can I switch over to the... Nope, I can't. Where did he go? Why isn't he even listed? How come I can't select his little pod? I probably have to have something with a... Well, this does have... Let's switch over to this then. I have no idea why it won't allow me to switch over to let him out. That's kind of weird. Is he listed in the Space Center? Under tracking? He isn't listed under tracking. That is strange. I hope he's okay. Unless, did I reload an autosave? No, he's not listed here, so I didn't reload an autosave or anything during all that. I did have to do that a couple times because the thing crashed. Oh, anyway, we'll figure out the mystery of the disappearing Kerbals later, I guess. So, see you guys later.